And welcome back to my channel. So if you are new on this channel, do well to subscribe and press the notification button. Follow the channel so that anytime we come online, you will be notified, okay? And if you are a returning subscriber, returning follower, thank you so much for sticking around. I believe and I hope that we are all learning, okay? So I'll be waiting for your questions in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your response. Tell us if we are doing good, how to do better, so that we'll all have the best at the end, okay? So I promised us in our last video that we're going to learn how to do armhole. So that's exactly what we are going to be doing today. We are going to learn how to do armhole, okay? So now, anytime we are talking about armhole, I like writing, so I'll be writing some few things. So anytime we are talking about armhole, always know for moderate size or moderate. If you don't call it moderate, you call it average. So for a normal size person, armhole is always ranging from 7 to 9. Okay, so armhole is always ranging from 7 to 9, depending on the style you are making and what you want to do. Okay, so and also another point to note is that the bust, if you want to get the armhole by calculation, you divide the bust of the person you are sewing for by 6, then you add 2. So what I mean is that if the bust of somebody is like maybe 38 or so, what we are going to do is we are going to divide by 6, then add 2. So let's do the calculations together. So if we have bust 38, sorry, we have bust 38, we're going to divide 38 divided by 6. So we'll have 6.3. This is 6.3 plus 2. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have 8.3. Since this one is not up to 8, I can just leave it at 8. It's not up to 5. I can just leave it at 8. So this person's armhole should be 8 on a dot. So if we have bust 45 divided by 6, we have, that is 45 divided by 6 plus 1. So if you have 45 divided by 6 plus 1, if you do 45 divided by 6, you know that somebody's whose bust is 45 is on a bigger side. So if you have 45 divided by 6, we're going to have 7.5 plus 2. Sorry, this is 2 plus 2. So at the end of the day, we're going to have 9.5. You know that this person is on a bigger size, okay? So this is a standard measurement for calculating your armhole. Remember, anytime you hear anything about armhole, remember that you are referring to where you will attach the sleeve. Okay, so another point to note is that armhole, front and back armhole what I'm trying to say is that the back and the front armhole are slightly different, is because the bust area, that's the front, is kind of narrower at the shoulder to bust area to compare the back. Okay, no, the back is kind of broad, it's kind of wide. Okay, so if maybe that's one of the mistakes you have been making when you are making a dress. If you cut it a cloth and you leave the back and the front to be the same thing, you find out that after sewing you're going to have a furful, as in you're going to have something like an opening at that what's it called, that upper region, which you, if you are making a fitted dress, you want it to snatch properly. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that there's a little calculation that you will do when you are making a back armhole and front armhole. That you will first of all cut both of them the same way. Then after cutting both of them the same way, you can now dip the front one a little, so that you take out that excess that will give the cloth a bigger look or unfitted look when you finish making it. Okay, front one is deeper than the back one. So why the back one is wider is because it's going to accommodate that blade, that's broad shoulder at the back. Okay, so another way of calculating shoulder, calculating armhole, is doing shoulder divided by 2 plus 0.5 to 1.5. So why I'm giving a range here? Why I'm giving a range here is because it might depend on the person you are sewing for. So it's the person that you are sewing for will determine whether you are adopting 0.5, or whether you are adopting 0.5, or whether you will use 1, or whether you will use 1.5, because these are the range of numbers you will find on this place. Okay, so assuming that the person's shoulder is 14, I'll do 14 divided by 2 plus, maybe let me use 1. Okay, so for a normal size person, please always use 1 or use 0.5. For the smaller size person, you can use 0.5. But for extra large person, you can use 1.5. So it's not like you cannot, you might research more and get more options for your armhole. But then these are the ones I use and it works perfectly for me. So let's do this calculation now. When you do 14 divided by 2, you have 7 plus 1. At the end of the day, you see that the total armhole is going to be 8. So these are the calculation you do. So I've given 2. The first one is when you do that bust divided by 6 plus 2. And the second one is when you do shoulder divided by 2 plus 1 or plus 1.5 or plus 0.5, depending on the person you are sewing for. Please always bear in mind that these things are dependent on the person that you are sewing for. It's dependent on the persons that you are sewing for. Okay, it's always dependent on the person you are sewing for, the size of the person that you are sewing for. Okay, so now let me now do the, so this is somebody's, this is a dress I want to cut. This is like a dress that I want to cut. Okay, this is a dress I'm interested in cutting. So I'm assuming that this is where I folded it. This is a fold. Okay, so the next thing to do is to measure the shoulder. Remember that the armhole starts from where the shoulder stops. So assuming that the shoulder is 16, I'm just going to divide by 2, which is 8. Okay, so wherever the armhole stops is where the shoulder starts. Okay, let me give us, to get it better, let me give us the measurements of this person we are sewing for. The shoulder is 15. Sorry, the shoulder is 15, while the bust is 38. Okay, so we're going to use this thing now to do the calculation. So we're going to divide the shoulder by 2. And when we divide 15 by 2, remember I said if you're having problem with your calculation and your phone is not close, you can always divide your tape. So when we divide the shoulder by 2, we are going to have 7.5. You mark it here. Okay, and we're going to divide 38 by 6, sorry, and add 2, by 6 and add 2. Okay, So when we do 38 divided by 6, we're going to have 6.3. Then if we add plus 2, we are going to have 8.3. So since 5 is not to number we can approximate, at the end of the day we are going to have 8 as the shoulder. Okay, I believe you understand this calculation I just did now. So I'm just going to mark 8 here. So the next thing I'm going to do here is to, if you're a beginner, please watch what I'm doing. You will just draw your perfect line. If you draw your perfect line, you use this French curved ruler to give your curve. Okay, please, I'm trying not to wound the lines. So remember that if we are cutting the front and the back, remember I told you that the front and back are not going to be the same thing. So I'm just going to cut out this. So it's assumed that I've cut the front and the back. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to carry one. This is the front one now, so this is the back. I'm keeping the back. I don't need to touch it again. So I'll just carry the back, the front, sorry. If I carry the front, I will shift my curved ruler, my French curved ruler, by half an inch. Did you see the half an inch? Look at the half an inch. I'm going to shift it by half an inch. I'll just take it inside. You know why I'm doing this? To absorb that excess that will make my clothes to be puffy when I finish sewing it. So maybe they have made a dress for you, and people are trying to adjust that side, but nothing is working. So see what I'm going to do. By the time I finish making this, and you see how snatched the shoulder part, shoulder to both sides, the way it will snatch once you do your calculation in a proper way. Okay, so if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do well to subscribe, and drop your comment in the comment section and give us a thumbs up. All right, so see you in our next video. I believe that with this now, you can gingerly calculate your armhole and transfer it to the clothes anytime you are making clothes. So it's not something that is too hard. Like I said, if you're a beginner, please try and get this ruler to be on the safer side. You see the way it's giving me the curve, and I'm not having much issues. Okay, so if you're a beginner, try and get this French ruler, French curved ruler. It will save you a lot of stress. Okay, and you won't need to worry much about it. So once again, this is Sew with Grace, and we are here to, start from the beginning and do it till you will be able to comfortably do reasonable things in your home, and you start building from there. As you're watching the channel, I believe that you will have a lot to learn. All right, thank you for watching, and see you in our next video. So the next one we're going to be discussing on how to do neckline. Okay, so we'll be expecting neckline video in our next video. Okay, how to cut neckline.